Hi everyone, this is David of Books of Chart, and today we're reading The 100 Simple Secrets of Successful People by David Niven Ph.D. Today we're reading chapter 76. Always think about what's next, which makes a lot of sense, especially if what's next is a complete U-turn or a complete bend. You never know. Good to keep your eye out. Now, an interesting little piece in the intro is those who are more capable of dealing with the future and the changes it holds are those who do not fear change and who practice flexibility. Now, I remember in a book at some point I read about there was a summit held, I think it was in the 1930s, of the wealthiest people in the world, and if I recall correctly, it was just before the Great Depression, and after, I think it was in 10-15 years, but possibly after the Great Depression, almost everybody that attended that summit were bankrupt. Like almost everybody. I think one was like in matches, and many of them were in industrials and stuff, but what the problem was is none of them adapted to the future and to innovation. Although another interesting one is this companies like Procter and Gamble that still make the same things they always did pretty much. So it depends probably what you do to an extent, but yeah, you have to adapt. Even if you do old products, you have to adapt to new ways. That's an important one. So you have to keep an eye out, because if you don't, you will burn out. It's actually, or fail. Actually, quite a funny, it was a Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns did that. And he invested in like Zeppelins and all sorts of old stuff when he wanted to make some money, and he failed completely because every idea he had was like 80 years old. So don't live in the past when it comes to innovating or successful endeavors, because you're not going to get it done. You always need to stay on the cutting edge. Now, the case study they have here, or the story they have, is about pet shop owners that were being, how should I say this, the screws were being put on them by a large superstore coming into the area. Now, here's an interesting part, because this sort of conflicts with the previous piece we did. They said specifically this shop felt that them competing in a niche would not be enough. Now, interestingly enough, there is a previous episode where that was the solution. I think it was a seller of obscure music instruments. So, similar problems can also create multiple solutions. So what they ended up doing was forming a cooperative with other smaller stores, just to have a similar buying power to the superstores. But either way, you gotta compete, you gotta adapt and adjust to the new environment, because if you don't, you're gonna fall behind or fail. Now, the case study here that they did is by Ingram in 1998. Research on employees who experienced layoffs that had nothing to do with their job performance, typically an economic downturn or recession or failure of the company itself, not a failure of the employee. Willingness to try new tasks, learn new skills, was the single best predictor of how long people stayed unemployed. Yep, I fully agree. That's 100% important. You gotta always keep your mind flexible, ready to learn, and able to learn. Being stubborn won't get you anywhere. No. So that's what I'll take from this. You have to be adaptive. Interestingly enough, as I said, there's a little bit of conflict there about the niche. Just because I remember in a prior chapter that was actually something somebody else did to manage their business. But yeah, this has been chapter 76 of the 100 Simple Secrets of Successful People by David Niven Ph.D. So thank you very much. I hope you had a good day. I hope you have an even better day after hearing this. I'll see you in the next chapter of this wonderful little book. This has been Edward of Chart of Books of Chart. Have a very good day. Bye bye.